Good. So here we are. César is had a very busy week at the Cannes Advertising Festival, the Creative Festival. I think from what I could see, it was a very exciting week and good to see so many people back. I think it seems like the pandemic is finally behind us. So what I'm going to ask César is to give us his highlights. What really stood out for him at the festival, and any particular observations or trends that he'd like to share with us. So César, welcome, and I know you've had a busy time. Thanks for spending this time with us.
Hello, Joanna. Very happy to share my thoughts and trends and what I saw in Cannes. I think that you are right. The first thing that shocked us all is that everybody was there. Everybody was back at Cannes. So the pandemic, we all had a feeling that the pandemic was over. There were lots of people. I think that we were all impressed by the number of Americans, and I think that is very much related with all the tech companies, with all the platforms that, of course, occupy more and more space in Cannes. There is no beach empty. There are cabanas all over the Croisette. There are more and more apartments in front of all the spaces around the Palais being hired and occupied by these companies with their logos and of course flags and all their identity to show up that they are also in the festival. It's amazing to see the number of CMOs attending Cannes, and I think that is very much promoted by Cannes. They are more and more interested in having CMOs and having the big marketers spending their time in Cannes. So more and more teams of these brands are in Cannes. For the second year in a row, AB InBev won the Marketer of the Year. That was the first time, and I think that Cannes is very much involved in helping these companies understand that creativity can change the numbers, can really move the needle, and that creativity does make a change in the companies, and the Nestle's, Unilever's, P&G's, AB InBev, Pepsi, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Burger King are all these big companies that more and more are having their annual meetings in Cannes. The World Federation of Advertisers is also hosting big venues and events and dinners for their members in Cannes. And I think that is bringing a lot of marketers together. But I also must say that is very difficult to encounter those marketers. So they spend their time in the World Federation of Advertising, their meetings, and they are like secluded. So there is like a complaint from agencies that mention and share. Sometimes it's us bringing clients, and of course, agencies bring clients because their work is in shortlist, or they think they are going to win Lions, or they want their clients to climb the stairs and pick up the trophies with them. But throughout the week, CMOs and marketers are hidden in their cabanas or in hotel meeting rooms, and it's quite difficult to meet them. And when you meet them, is in the big concerts that Spotify or Amazon or Meta or Google organize, which is very difficult to attend these concerts because, of course, it's in a tiny space in the beach. For the first time, I heard that there are some people that swim in the sea to get into the beach or hear the concert from the beach.
I don't believe
but
it,
of
really.
course there is police boats and there is protection, so that these people cannot access the beaches from the sea.
But so
And
do the CMOs actually go to the seminars though? Do they attend some of the events?
so what happens? What happens is that there are more and more seminars and conferences happening outside the Palais, which I think is crazy because the best speakers and Cannes Lions does really put a lot of effort in bringing the most enlightening and the most interesting speakers in the different venues within the Palais, not only Debussy and Lumiere big halls, but also in the different rooms around the Palais. And more companies are organizing and bringing big, famous, recognized, admired speakers into their hotels, their venues. So what happens with the CMOs is that they get curated content from the different organizations that bring them to Cannes. And in the cabanas, they get curated content with the top 10 minutes or 5 minutes of the seminars. So the more and more they get content specifically prepared for them.
That's not quite the same experience, is it? I mean, my experience of Cannes, look, it's quite a while ago, but for me the greatest part of Cannes was attending those seminars and to really listen to in the main Palais and to really hear some really fantastic people talking about what was coming and what was important. Yeah,
and I think that is the experience. What is good for those that we want to attend the seminars is that they are not so crowded as they used to be. So the lines, the queues, and are not so long. So that makes also the experience better for mainly people from agencies that are the ones that are attending these seminars. If I also analyze content related with the seminars, it's very much related with AI. It's very much, of course, related with creativity. A lot of show off around diversity and equality and inclusion and all the focus of companies in the IA. A lot of talks around sustainability and purpose of those companies. And at the same time, I think there is a lack of content around business and effectiveness and how this industry is changing the company's results and sometimes also is affecting the value of these companies in the stock exchange. And at the same time, I think that we all are living in a economic and social and political environment that is not very much shown and debated in Cannes. There was Martin Sorrell having a seminar, and he was fantastic because he was an exception in the content that we saw in Cannes, because he talked about these things, and we realized that he does have all these people around him, and of course advisors, and I think it's important also to know where are we moving and where our companies are operating. And of course, that affects creativity and all the strategies and all the work of brands and agencies. And I think the festival is lacking a little bit of that. In the old times, we had Kofi Annan, we had Christine Lagarde from the European, and it's still a lot of the Hollywood stars and the American TV shows. And actors and of course musicians and so on, which are the very famous people for the rest of the world.
So there were quite a lot of celebrities there, I gather, who were speaking. And did you think they added value? Did you think that they were?
I think they always try to speak and give a perspective on creativity and how our industry, of course, gets more and more involved in everything that has to do with entertainment and of course these shows. But I think it's very much American oriented, US oriented, because these people are not that famous for the rest of the world, and we don't know them. So of course they do have their programs, and within their programs are doing more creative and innovative things to position the brands and to show the consumers the brands. But the rest of the world does not know about these people. They are not famous. Or we don't know what they do on the American television shows.
It's true. So anyway, which agencies did particularly well that you really noticed who was standing out?
So it was very impressive to see DDB as the creative agency of the year. It was the first time. Of course, the traditional agencies that won that award in the past, like Ogilvy and BBDO, are still there. But it was good to see DDB. It was very surprising to see Dentsu Creative winning big awards, and also the independents or not the traditional agencies from the 6 big holding groups. So there was awards won by Chael, which were very good and outside the Samsung world, and the creative agency of the year which was Good Buenos Aires, the independent agency of the year, that was GUT, and the independent network, which was GUT again. So GUT was impressive to see that they were winning lots of awards and in categories outside film. So it's also good to see that you can become a top and a leading agency doing different things in all these new categories that we see in Cannes, because I think that it's also impressive to see all these categories around gaming, entertainment, sports, pharma, B2B, data, innovation, which of course is creativity combined with everything that technology has to do. And it's amazing because it's really inspiring to see the power of creativity in all these new fields that we are not used to see when we just think in print and radio and outdoor and film, which were the traditional categories in the festival. And it's very, very inspiring to see how our industry is evolving in all these areas, which used to be boring, and they are not boring anymore. It's amazing what you see in B2B and in pharma with all the restrictions, and that is very inspiring.
That's really good. And so you're obviously, I know you, running from meeting to meeting, no doubt, seeing lots of people, but I'm sure you also caught up with a few colleagues and friends and people in various agencies.
It's true. For a company like Scopen that has offices in different countries of the world, is a great opportunity to just walk up and down the Croisette and meet so many people. In the old time, it was the creatives, but now, of course, it's people from the accounting and strategies, and of course, the CEOs and the managing directors of all these agencies. Also running from meeting to meeting, going with the clients. A lot of agencies held their global meetings for their different offices in Cannes, and I think it's great to see how our industry celebrates everything related with what we do in Cannes. It's great. It's great because it's really the Congress and the reunion of our industry celebrating creativity and innovation.
That's wonderful. Good. Well, I'm glad it was such a great week. Anything
it was such a
great week.
I don't want to leave before celebrating the success of agencies in South Africa. Ogilvy won Lions, Promise won Lions, and I think it's amazing that the young Lions from Joe Public won their gold also, which I think it's the new breed, the new generation of South African talent doing their best against the best in the world. And And I think that is fantastic. So
Yeah.
I also want to celebrate that, because I think that the country needs to celebrate, and because it's not easy. It's becoming more and more
Very
difficult to win those lions. Only 3% of the campaigns, the cases that go come back with a lion. I think within the Giant Lions it's even more difficult, because it's all the countries, is more
Everybody.
than everybody participating. It was, and I also amazed that it was the first year that Nigeria or Armenia won lions. So there are still countries that never won. So I think that it's very important,
very encouraging,
for South Africa to celebrate and really show to the world the South African talent and all the opportunities for brands and talent in South Africa.
Brilliant. Well, on that high note, we'll say goodbye, and thank you very much for sharing your highlights with us, and see you soon.
Thank you, Joanna, and thank you for celebrating and occupying this space to celebrate effectiveness from IIS.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Thanks then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.